TFL EV is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
Hey everybody, Tommy here in beautiful Southern California, taking a first drive in the brand new, all-new Toyota bZ4X, their first ever ground up electric car. Not their first ever electric car, there's actually been two others, the 1997 RAV4 and then the one in the early 2010s, but this one, it's all new. It was co-developed with Subaru, and in this video we're going to take it for a ride, talk about the price, the range, the specs, everything you need to know, and see if it's any good. So bZ4X stands for Beyond Zero. 4 is the size, and X means it's an SUV. This one is the Limited, and it's got all-wheel drive. Pretty cool stuff. This one's also got the two-tone roof against body contrast, 20-inch wheels. The Limited's got full LED headlights with this crazy little like quad lamp design. Definitely a polarizing design. Some people either love it or they really don't like it with this kind of blacked out fender flare look. Let me know in the comment section below. But I just want to jump right into it and get this thing on the road and see what it's like to drive. Okay, driving the bZ4X, we are stopped at a stoplight. I'm gonna plant it now. This is the Limited all-wheel drive. And the Grand Cherokee next to me is gone, and there is the speed limit there, 60 miles an hour. So we are looking at 214 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque out of a dual motor all-wheel drive setup. Now, 214, 248, not crazy numbers on paper, but of course, that instant electric torque means that this thing certainly feels quicker in the real world than its on-paper numbers would suggest. Now, a very smooth and refined powertrain, even for an electric vehicle. So let me go ahead and kind of approach this stoplight here, and let's go ahead and take it down right around 2 or 3 miles an hour and see how the cogging is, see if we get any jitter out of those electric motors. No. Feels really good. So both the front and the rear electric motor have an output of 80 kilowatts. 80 plus 80 is 160, so 214 horsepower. I don't know, physics involved there. Now the front wheel drive model has less power overall, 201 horsepower, but that is from a much larger single front mounted electric motor. But passing power, let's see if we can zip out into traffic. Ooh, very good passing power. I would say more than adequate. It does die off pretty consistently right around 53, 54 miles an hour when you stop getting that little jaunt back into your seat. But yeah, try it one more time, quick pass. Yeah, very adequate. Now 0 to 60 times, for the front wheel drive model, it's supposed to be right around 7.1 seconds. For the all-wheel drive, they're saying the mid-6 territory. So once again, even though the power number on paper not that impressive, in person it certainly feels very adequate. Now let's talk about the battery. So we're dealing with a liquid cooled battery, and Toyota's actually using two different battery technologies. So on the front wheel drive model you have a Panasonic battery. On this all-wheel drive model it actually has a CATL battery, which is interesting. Also have two different battery capacities. So the front wheel drive model, 71.4 kilowatt hours. This all-wheel drive model, 72.8 kilowatt hours. So a slightly larger battery in terms of overall capacity for the all-wheel drive model. And we also have, interestingly enough, two different peak DC fast charging rates, and it's a pretty significant difference between the two. So the front wheel drive maxes out at 150 kilowatts of peak DC fast charge rate according to Toyota, but the all-wheel drive model only 100, and that is a fairly significant drop. Now, of course, as we enter the year, you know, going into 2023, this is a 2023 model year, where we see vehicles with 200, 250, 270 kilowatts peak charging rate. So 150 and 100 respectively. Not all that hot. Now they're saying, of course, from a low stated charge to 80% in under an hour, but still, I'd love to see that number higher. Now, what's the driving experience like in the bZ4X? Well, it's very soft. Now this is the Limited, so we've got the 20-inch wheels versus the base model XLE, which has the 18-inch wheels. But even on the 20s, this is a very almost floaty ride, and I do have to say I quite like that. For just cruising around town, for putting around on a road trip, it's great being able to just kind of waft over bumps. Now it certainly isn't what I would describe as a sporty driving experience, especially from a chassis dynamic perspective. it's not something that I would really want to go carving corners in. But you know, if you're just driving around on your commute like we are doing here outside of San Diego, going from stoplight to stoplight over road imperfections and potholes and sewer covers, like, this is a really good ride. From an interior layout and controls perspective, I really do like this interior quite a lot. I especially love this fabric material they put across the dash. Now that fabric material is mimicked on the cloth seats of like an XLE. Of course, on this limited model, we do have a more premium seat material, so it doesn't quite match as nice as the XLE, but I just love how funky it is. And this is a really funky interior layout. So we've got a 12.3-inch touchscreen display as the main display, very similar to what you'd find in the new Toyota Tundra. So it's got user profiles, standard wireless Apple CarPlay, standard Android Auto. It's overall quite easy to use, quite snappy. I would like to see a volume knob instead of these volume buttons, but yeah, it's very self-explanatory, and it doesn't distract too much from the driving experience, which is nice. Below that, we do have touch buttons for climate control, heated seats, all of it for the most part. Not my favorite, but luckily we do have hard controls for like fan speed, temperature adjustments. Those are these nice little toggles. And a couple of interesting things to notice here. We do have like a little button here for what I believe is to be the windshield heater for the wipers. Of course, we do have heated mirrors too as well, but this button is interesting. This is a really unusual one. It's got little heating elements by your knee. So on the driver's side, it's underneath the steering wheel. There's like this little pad, and it's supposed to be a knee slash leg slash feet warmer. So you got 3 positions, much like you'd find on a heated seat. Click those on. This particular one pretty much fully loaded with the heated steering wheel, heated seats, as well as ventilated seats. Now below that, we do have the little shifter. It's a little collar actually, push down, and that is how you select the gear, go between neutral, reverse, and then a little button for park. A couple of different drive modes too. Now there is of course an eco mode, and you can click eco mode on and off. It's going to like soften up the accelerator pedal and try to help you drive a little bit more efficiently. But underneath that is an X mode with deep snow and mud setting, as well as snow and dirt. Helps with traction out in difficult situations, and that is certainly one of the big carryovers from the partnership with Subaru. Toyota and Subaru did develop this car jointly, and of course Subaru's known for their X modes in their gasoline all-wheel drive models. Well, it made its way into the sister car of this, the Solterra, and now it's in the bZ4X as well. And then there's also a regeneration button, which is supposed to help you give more regen when off acceleration, coasting to a stop. And it's okay. It could be a lot more aggressive, so it's, I don't know if I would call it a true one pedal. It's like 0.75 of a one pedal driving experience, so it is good enough where it'll slow you down to most stoplights to a low speed if you're being conservative with the gap to the vehicle in front of you, but it doesn't come to a complete stop. So here we've got a red light, 48, 47, 46, 45. Now on a true one pedal experience, I'd have no problem stopping, but in this vehicle I do have to apply the brakes before I run into the back of this Range Rover in front of us. And then when we do come to a stop, it does have creep, and I don't believe there is a way to disable creep. So I'd love a way to turn creep off, and I'd love that one pedal experience to be a little bit more assertive in its implementation. Now the steering on this car feels quite nice. It is electric power steering, nicely weighted though, not too overly boosted. There's really no steering feel coming through, but it's easy to get used to, and it is very, very unoffensive. Hey Toyota, take me home.
I found 2100 North Coast Highway 101. Would you like to go now?
Let's do it. Go now.
You can say yes or go now.
Yes, yes, let's go. All right. So the voice recognition system, it is okay. It's not as good as like the Mercedes, Hey Mercedes functionality, but it works all right. So some other things worth noting about the driving experience in the bZ4X. I don't like how low the roofline is for taller passengers. Now, the XLE does have the 8-way power adjustable driver's seat with up and down positioning, but even with the seat all the way down, I'm not super tall. I'm like 6 feet, 6'1" if I stand up straight or sit up straight, and I'm just a little bit too close to this roof cowl for my liking. The windshield is extremely slanted on this model. One thing I'm not a huge fan of. I do, however, like the panoramic sunroof. It does have a little bit of a divider here, so it's not quite seamless from the front to the back, but I do like how we actually have a cover, which you can extend over the whole thing, unlike some of the newer Tesla models. Now, what about range? Well, range is going to depend pretty significantly based on the trim. So the entry-level XLE with front-wheel drive is going to be the highest range configuration, 18-inch wheels. That's rated at 252 miles. Now, this one that I'm driving is actually going to be the lowest range configuration, 222 miles, and then the various trims fall in between. One thing worth noting is that going from an XLE to a limited, you do lose between like 6 and 10 miles of range, depending on whether or not you get the front-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive configuration. Give it a quick squirt of acceleration onto the main road.
Proceed about 2 miles to North Coast Highway 101.
That's good. So between like 15 and 30, this thing really rockets off down the horizon pretty darn quick. And then the quicker you go, it does ramp down quite a bit. It's a fun car to launch, actually. It is pretty snappy. If you've never driven an EV, you're going to be pretty blown away with this. If you've driven like a Mach-E Model Y, it's going to feel pretty tame. They're certainly being a little bit calm on the initial pedal programming, so you don't get too much of the forward to backward motion, but it makes sense. They're targeting largely a non-EV crowd. I do believe with this bZ4X trying to convert typical Toyota gasoline customers to fully electric. Now the range, mid to lowish 200 miles, not phenomenal. I think that's plenty for daily driving, certainly plenty for daily driving for the vast majority of folks, but we really need to get it out to Colorado and do some testing to see if that's enough for longer trips. And then the peak charge rate, 100 kilowatts on this all-wheel drive model. I'd love to see that higher, but maybe it'll hold 100 kilowatts from 0 to 80% or 90%. We really got to get it out and see how that does. Unfortunately, on this initial drive, I just don't have the time to test it. So overall, I love the interior design. I love the 7-inch screen in front of me. It looks great. I love the standard Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 with adaptive cruise, lane centering. 3.0's got better cameras. It's got better radar technology compared to the Safety Sense 2.0. I love that it's standard. I love the comfort. I think it's great. The rear seat legroom, incredible. Certainly enough for someone of my size. Really is a great rear seat legroom. I don't like the one-pedal driving experience that much. A little disappointed in the range and the charging speed. Now price, the base XLE front-wheel drive starts at about $42,000. All-wheel drives can be about a $2,000 premium, and then when you step up to the limited with all-wheel drive and all the goodies, you're going to be touching $50,000 in that neighborhood. So it can get pretty pricey pretty quickly depending on your configuration. The quality though really feels excellent. This is an 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty, which is good. Certainly not the best battery warranty I've ever heard of. And then weirdly, some of the Toyota hybrid systems actually have a slightly longer battery warranty, but I think the battery warranty is pretty good. Technology is good. We have 5 USB ports in here, 4 of which are USB-C, 1 of which is USB-A. I do like the wireless charger. And if I had a little bit more room with this roof in the front seat, I'd really have a more comfortable experience as a taller driver. But overall, it is a very solid vehicle with a lot of kind of cool futuristic design, decent performance, adequate range, I think, for daily commuting, and pretty cool look. Exterior design, pretty funky. Now let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, this has been Tommy with TFL Car and TFL EV. Check out TFL EV for all the latest and greatest in new EV reviews.